Temporary resident permits, or TRPs, are one of the lesser-known but very important tools in Canadian immigration. They allow someone who is inadmissible to enter or stay in Canada temporarily, even when they wouldn't normally be allowed to. But TRPs aren't automatic. They're discretionary, meaning the officer has full authority to approve or refuse based on the circumstances. Let's break down when and why TRPs are issued, and what makes a strong case. To even need a TRP, the person must be inadmissible. If you're eligible to enter Canada and have no immigration issues, you wouldn't need a TRP at all. Common grounds for inadmissibility include criminal convictions, like DUI or assault, misrepresentation, such as false documents or withholding information, medical or financial issues, and past violations of immigration law, like overstaying a visa or previous deportation. In other words, this isn't for someone who simply forgot to apply for a visa. It's for someone who would be refused even with a visa. A TRP can be issued if the person's need to enter or remain in Canada is greater than the risk they pose to Canadians. For example, a business professional with an old criminal conviction might get a TRP to attend a one-time conference. A parent with misrepresentation history might be allowed in temporarily to visit a critically ill child in Canada. Each case is different, and the officer will assess the seriousness and timing of the inadmissibility, any signs of rehabilitation, the specific reason for coming to Canada, and whether there's evidence of ongoing risk. TRPs can be issued for a few days, such as to attend a funeral, a few months, like to complete a short visit, or up to 1 year in some cases. Longer TRPs are usually reserved for situations where the person is needed in Canada for a sustained reason, like caring for a Canadian family member or participating in legal proceedings. A TRP can be renewed, but only if the reasons remain strong and conditions have been followed. For foreign nationals who are outside Canada, there are two possible ways to apply for a TRP. A TRP application can be submitted through a Canadian visa office. This process is slower but safer. If approved, the foreign national can travel to Canada for the approved period. The other option is at a port of entry, like an airport or land border, faster but riskier. If applying at the border, the officer decides on the spot. That means you need to be ready to explain your case clearly and present supporting documents. A strong TRP application usually includes a detailed explanation of the inadmissibility, the specific reason for needing entry, evidence of ties to home country, and any proof of rehabilitation or low risk. So, can you work or study if you hold a TRP? Not automatically. A TRP doesn't give you the right to work or study in Canada by itself. However, if your TRP is valid for 6 months or more, you might be eligible to apply for a work permit or study permit while inside Canada, as long as you meet the regular requirements. Again, this depends on the specific case, and not everyone qualifies. TRPs often come with conditions, like regular check-ins with immigration officers, no unauthorized work or study, and leaving Canada by a certain date. Violating the terms of your TRP can make future applications, even for permanent residents, much more difficult. And there's no appeal process if a TRP is refused or revoked. Remember, a TRP is a privilege, not a right. Temporary resident permits give people a second chance, a way to come to Canada when the doors would normally be closed, but they require clear justification, strong evidence, and full honesty. If you believe you may need a TRP, consider seeking qualified advice before applying. If this was helpful, feel free to subscribe for more practical tips on Canadian immigration.